Yo, what's up guys, it's RC. Firstly, I want to thank you guys so much for the insane support on my last video. You guys really seem to enjoy the way I sum up long and confusing drama into shorter videos, so here I am again because Emily Artful just dropped a 2-hour bombshell video on Creepshowart, and things have gone from bad to worse for Creepshowart since my last video. Now, if you aren't in the loop with this whole drama, I recommend watching my first video first and then coming back to this afterwards to get the full picture. Either way, I'll just quickly summarize this. Creepshowart got exposed for talking crap behind YouTubers such as Saikuno, Corpse Husband, and Dangelo Wallace, and the list just goes on. This was exposed when her anonymity was revoked on an online forum called lolcow, and people found out that Creepshow had used many racist and transphobic slurs. Then a YouTuber called Emily Artful made allegations on Twitter against Creepshow, saying that Creepshow had got Emily fired from multiple jobs, causing trauma, and had used many inappropriate pictures as blackmail against her and her children. But if you want a better run through of this whole situation, my last video is more in depth of the drama that took place. But today, Emily Artful has taken those allegations that she made on Twitter in my last video and made a 2-hour long video with complete concrete evidence. And now it's really hard to say that these are allegations because most of this stuff has been proved in this video. Even if you can't watch the full thing, I just recommend giving her your support because as you'll come to find out, she's gone through some terrible things. Also, this took quite a long time to research and edit, so if you enjoy, leaving a like and subscribing would mean a lot. But either way, thanks so much for the support. Now, Emily first starts off this video by saying that she had a serious drug addiction from the age of 14 when she got into a toxic group of friends. She also stated that her relationships have been pretty toxic. Her boyfriend at the time had been constantly cheating on her, and she had even stated that he had R-worded her. She identified him as Anthony Parker. I said this in my last video as well, but she had also said that after dating her, Anthony went on to date Creepshowart, but she didn't know this until a few years later. She then said that Anthony and Creepshow had allegedly locked her out of her own Facebook account, where she had some pictures of her as a minor, and said to this day she wasn't able to recover this Facebook account. She also said that she was forced into doing webcamming, and her stalkers took photos of this and saved them to a photobucket account. Then they sent them to companies that Emily worked for, getting her fired from multiple jobs, just like Emily had stated on Twitter in my last video. She said that Creepshow had also used many transphobic insults against her, and we saw that she had done the same thing in those lolcow posts. And this deeply affected Emily because she was going through a very tough period since she was struggling with drug addiction and an eating disorder. Around this same time, people started telling Emily in her comments that a YouTuber called Creepshowart was copying her content. She then shows a screenshot of a message she sent to Creepshowart telling her to kindly stop making a series with the exact same name, and Creepshow agreed. She then shows fake accounts that Creepshow had allegedly made, trying to make Emily say something hurtful about Creepshow and trying to start drama, but Emily didn't say anything about it. A while later, one of Emily's videos goes viral and she makes a tweet about it, celebrating it. But one of the replies was none other than Anthony Parker, who is now allegedly dating Creepshow, and he replies by saying that she had faked and bought her views and her subscribers. She then goes on to say that to this day she's very scared of Anthony because there are times where he can get very angry, and said that he had even talked to his friends about shooting schools. And like I said, this guy had R-worded and assaulted Emily without her consent. So this guy is a completely messed up human being. At this point, she had separate encounters with Creepshowart and Anthony Parker, but even though I had mentioned these two were dating, Emily Artful didn't know this. She only got to find out about this after Creepshow had drawn some art of Anthony and tagged him in the Instagram post. She then said that her stalker, which she assumed was Anthony Parker at the time, sent her a snap of her city, and she was obviously very alarmed because, like I said before, this is a guy who had talked about school shootings. He's a maniac, and Emily was scared that he was in her city to hurt him. She told Anthony not to try anything funny, and in response to Emily telling Anthony not to come near her, he just continues to send her more snaps. Her response to all of this is almost pleading, begging for him not to hurt her or her family, and as she calls it, trying to reach the human side of him. It's just really scary. She then confirms that this stalker was Anthony Parker because she used an IP tracker and got him to click on it, and the IP had confirmed that this was the exact place where Anthony and Creepshow was living at the time, San Jose, California. It was when she did this only did she realize that she didn't have two different stalkers. There were two stalkers working together, Creepshowart and Anthony. She had already known before that Anthony Parker was stalking her, but she hadn't realized that Anthony Parker was working together with Creepshow. She said she believed Anthony had influenced Creepshowart to do the horrible actions she started doing, but in the end, it was Creepshow that had become the mastermind for all this stalking. She then says Creepshow started sending her messages saying that she's a bad mother. Emily talks about a few videos she made with her 1-year-old son at the time for Halloween, but Creepshow twists this really cute series to Emily profiting off her son and using him for money, which she obviously didn't. Even more drama started when Emily made a video criticizing a YouTuber and Creepshow made fake sock puppet accounts in the comments saying that this wasn't about some random YouTuber, but it was about creepshowart, which it obviously wasn't. Creepshowart then addresses it on her Instagram story. Emily Artful finally calls her out in her DMs, telling her to put an end to the endless stalking, sock puppet accounts and trauma that she and Anthony had given her in the past decade. This conversation goes on, with Creepshow constantly defending herself and Andrew by saying that they wouldn't have stalked her, and she even ends up playing the victim card by saying that they were homeless for long periods of time and wouldn't have had the time and energy to spend stalking her for years. Creepshow continues to play the victim card by saying that she was stalked for 12 years, and this stalker had made fun of the time when Creepshow was a cam girl. But doesn't that sound a bit familiar? Of course it does, because that's exactly what Creepshow and Anthony did to Emily. But Creepshow is turning the narrative around and she's acting like she was stalked and she wasn't the stalker. Finally, the conversation goes on and Emily gathers information about Creepshow's PO box. After this conversation, Emily notes that the stalking and sock puppet accounts diminished by a significant amount, further leading her to believe that her stalkers were Anthony and Creepshowart. Finally, Emily talks about the behavior of Creepshowart and how she believes she took part in all of this. She said that it was first Anthony's idea, but then Creepshow took over the masterminding of stalking and emotionally abusing her for so long. She continues to talk about how Creepshow flipped the narrative in one of her videos to make it look like she was stalked for 8+ years when she was the person who had stalked Emily for 8+ years. Because of the evidence we have here, I have no choice but to lean towards Emily's side of the story. Go check out her video for all the details and show your support because she's gone through so much. I also hope I did a good job summarizing it, and if I did, please leave a like and subscribe since I put a lot of effort into these videos. Also comment if this is not okay, just because of the sheer number of thumbnails Creepshowart has with this exact phrase. Plus, we like to do a little trolling on this channel. And I'm talking about trolling that doesn't include stalking your ex's city and threatening to kill her. Anyway guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. But until then, stay safe. See you guys.